Okay, so we're gonna start with fabric. We're gonna actually we're gonna cut 7 pieces of fabric around 3 inches wide by 7 inches. It's important that you cut them in pairs, right? So 7 pieces. So you have a set of, make sure you have 3 sets. 1, 2, 3. Now this one is bigger than the rest, so I'm actually going to cut it down, just showing you simple cutting procedure. When you're cutting fabric, I'm going to go ahead and cut both of these pieces at the same time. It's really important to lay your fabric down on your table so that your scissors are actually, going along the bottom there, and you're putting the fabric all the way to that cutting point. That's the sharpest part of the scissor. And then cutting nicely is important. If you don't have a nice sharp pair of scissors, it will be painful. That's my iron. I ironed this fabric as well. Okay, so before I got to, and that's not perfectly, it's not perfect, but that's okay. It's a lot less wrinkly than it was. So the first thing I'm going to show you is threading your needle. Okay, simply put, this is embroidery floss, so there's literally like 6 strands of thread in there, and so it might help you to cut, once again, at the sharpest point. Cut your thread down and then feed it through. Okay. Notice I had to like kind of help it along there. Now, a lot of people think that you should put a knot here at the end, and you really shouldn't. What you have to do is learn to, and that's because if you knot here, you're going to actually put holes into your fabric. And what you do want to do is to make sure you have a long enough tail, right? And whenever I'm sewing, I usually go from arm span to arm span. Like that's how much thread I take. For this, I'm just taking it. This is about 24 inches long. Okay. Now I'm going to show you how to knot the end. So knotting is also a science. So you literally just make a knot like that. And then you have to make another knot right on top of that. Now, sometimes you can get it just right just by eyeballing it. Like you can kind of hold it to direct it, which is good. It's easier to do with thicker embroidery floss. Another way, I'll just do it a third time. You don't need to do that many for embroidery floss because this is literally like 6 threads together. Another way to do it, if you're really struggling, I found that putting a needle right there to sort of guide it on the smaller thread makes it easier too. Okay, so you want to have a pretty big knot. You don't need 3 times, but I did it 3 times just to show you. And so this tail right here is loose. And what you need to learn to do is hold as you go so that you don't pull it through. All right, so that's why people want to knot it, because they're like, well, what if it, you lose it? Well, you don't lose it because you learn to hold your hand in the right manner. So the first thing I'm going to show you is just how to baste. Basting is done for a lot of reasons. Most importantly is probably for putting in a zipper. When you baste, you don't actually worry about, you're doing really long, loose threads. So you're basically doing about you're doing half-inch long ones. And actually when you're basting, you don't even have to put a knot in the bottom of it. So you're just basically going down like that and then back up. And then pull through, right? Down and then back up. So I'm going like every half-inch, which is absolutely fine for basting. If it helps, you can draw a line with a pencil. So you're just going down, and then when you come back up, you can kind of use the point of your needle so you can see where you are, and then push up and through. So basting is good for it's good for setting sleeves. It's good for putting in zippers. all kinds of things just as a short it's meant to be used as a temporary